Hey, it's IdkWhatsRc and this is my level 1 to 99 melee guide for members after the evolution of combat. So this video will show you many ways, including the fastest one in the whole game, allowing you to get more than 400k experience per hour in melee. But first, let's talk about some influence, so stuff you can do before training melee that will improve your experience rate. The first one is Herblore. So at level 89, you'll be able to make extreme attack and extreme strength that will boost your attack and strength, allowing you to get more experience. There is also the Overload at level 96 that are very good. For the prayers, at level 70 you can unlock piety by completing the quest King's Ransom, and there is also the quest Temple at Sentence 10 where you will be able to unlock Soul Split, which will regenerate your life. It's very useful. And there's also Torment at level 95, which is the best prayer for melee. Another very useful skill is Dungeoning. So with Dungeoning you'll be able to unlock a Charm Imp that will collect charms for you. There is also the Herbicide that will give you Herblore experience by killing monsters that drop herbs. There's the Bone Crusher, so you will bury the bones automatically and get prayer experience, and it's very good with the Demon Horn Necklace, which has an effect that every time you bury a bone you get prayer points. So with the Bone Crusher you practically have infinity prayer points. And finally there are the Chaotic Weapons, which are the best weapon in the game at level 80. And there is also Summoning that is very useful because of its familiars. So there are three main categories of familiars. There's the ones that will regenerate your life over time. There are the Bunny Hip and the Unicorn Stallion. If you want to make longer trip, you can also bring Beast of Burden. So there's the War Toys and the Pack-Yak, so they will be able to haul items for you. And finally there are the aggressive or combat ones. There's the Rune Minotaur and the Iron Titan. So those are only the best one out there. I will put a link in the description for the full list if you're low level in summoning. If you want more experience, you can also complete those quests. The first one is the Elder Kiln to unlock the Tokor Call, which is a cape, the best melee cape in the game actually, but don't forget that you will need to do the Fire Kiln to obtain it, so it's kind of hard. There is also the quest Recipe for Disaster that will allow you to unlock the best melee gloves for low level, but it's not really required. There are also quests that are useful because of the rewards they will give you. For example, at level 1 in combat, well 2 in combat, you can do the Waterfall quest. By completing it, you will receive 14k attack and strength experience. So this will allow you to instantly get level 30 in attack and strength. So I highly recommend to do it. There is also the Holy Grail, which has a little requirement to complete the Merlin's crystal that will give you 15k defense. So right there, you're also level 30 in defense, skipping you all the low level stuff. And there are also the Grand Tree, the Trinium Village, and the Vampire Slayer that are also good experience. Okay, so now we'll do a rough summary of all the melee equipment in the game that will be useful when training. So first of all, there is the Amulet, the Ring, and the Cape, which stands kind of apart from the other piece of equipment. So for the Amulet, there's the Saradomin Whisper that requires level 70. Then there's the Fury and Glory, which is very cheap. For the Ring, there's the Warrior Ring imbued, so from mobilizing army. Otherwise it's the regular one, or the 6th Age circuit that is obtained after the quest The World Wakes. For the cape, there's the Tokor Call, which I've mentioned earlier, which required the Fight Kiln. After that, there's the Fire Cape, which needs to have completed the Fight Cape, so killing Jad. There's the Skill Cape, and then the Obsidian Cape, which can be bought at the Granite Change. Now for the armor and weapon, there are different tiers depending on your defense and attack level. So there's Bronze, Iron, Steel, Mithril, Adamant, Rune, and Dragon, which are kind of all the same except the name. And for the weapons, there are three main types of weapons. There's the Stab, Slash, and Crush. So for the Stab, I recommend to use Dagger. For the Slash, Claw, which are better than Scimitar because of their critical hit chance. And finally, for Crush, I would recommend to use Mass. So as you can see, I recommend to use the fastest weapon possible. At level 70 it gets kinda tricky, so there's two armor set. There's the Barrows and the Bendos, which act kinda differently. So the Bendos is more like a power armor, so it will improve the experience you will get, but the Barrows offer more defense, but they are degradable. That's a thing to remember. For the weapons, it's also very strange, but what I recommend is to simply use the Barrows weapons. So Guten, Darak and Torag. At level 75 there are no armor, but they are a new set of weapons, so the Samoriakian Spear, God Sword and Saradomin Sword. At level 80 there's Torva, which is quite expensive and degradable. You will also be able to use chaotic weapons, so the Rapier, Longsword and Mole. Don't forget that the Mole is two-handed. Finally, at level 90 there's the Malevolent equipment, which I don't recommend for training because they degrade to dust and cost a lot. But for the weapons, the Trigor weapon, they are very good and will really improve the experience rate. So if you have money to spend them on getting Trigor equipment, so the Rapier, Longsword or the Mace. Okay, so now I want to talk more about the different ways to train melee. So by pressing the F4 button, you will be able to change in what you will get experience. So you can choose attack only, strength only, defense only, or balance. So the three of them equally distributed. And the thing is, if you really want to be efficient, you will want to train attack only, strength only with melee, and then for the defense, you'll want to train it with magic. But to be honest, if you're new to the game or just don't really care, you can simply use balance and it's probably as good as what I've just mentioned. Also, don't forget that this guide is only about melee, so I won't cover Slayer, but if you're interested, you can check the link in the description to go check out the Slayer guide. The ratio is about 1 melee experience per 1.6 Slayer experience. Okay, so now let's actually train the skills. So from level 1 to 40, what I recommend to kill is Troll Shocker. So they have very low combat level, very low life point, but they give quite decent experience, 30 experience each. There are no requirements, and they can give up to 30k experience per hour in melee, and your combat level doesn't really change anything because of their very low life points. And the ability I would recommend is to simply use Momentum, because you don't have access to any fancy abilities at your level, and anyway they have so low life points that it will pretty much change nothing. Okay, so those are the items you will need, so pretty much nothing, as you can see. So nothing in the inventory, and for the equipment, only the basic stuff. So plate body, plate legs, and helmet, it should be fine. They don't really hit hard even at level 1 defense. And for the weapons, I would recommend pretty much anything you can find, so daggers for example. The thing is, like I've mentioned, you pretty much wanted them at any level, so there's no need to get best gear at your level, but if you want, there's bronze from level 1 to 10, then iron, steel and mithril. So the Troll Shocker are located in Erupt Cave, and the fastest way to get there is to simply use teleport and run north. Okay, so after teleporting to Erupt, you want to run north and enter the cave. Once you're there, you want to run north once again and you will be at the Troll Shocker. So once you're there, you simply activate Momentum if you need to, and then you simply click on the monster. You will most likely one-shot them, no matter what your level is, and that's pretty much it. There are not many of them, so go to a highly populated world. They also drop a little bit of food if you're very low level, but it shouldn't be really needed against them. From level 40 to 60, what I recommend to kill is rock crabs, so they also don't have any requirements, and they can give about 40k experience per hour at level 40 and 60k experience per hour at level 60. When fighting rock crabs, I would recommend to use abilities. You can still use Momentum and be kind of away from keyboard, but you will get less experience. Anyway, those are the abilities I recommend. So first there is Slice and Punish, which are abilities that you will use all the time to build your adrenaline. So their goal is not really to do damage, it's to get adrenaline. There's also Dismember and Sever, which are very good and do not need adrenaline, but they have quite a big cooldown. After that there's Flurry, which requires 50% of your adrenaline, and it's an area of effect attack, so it will attack all the monsters around you, so it's very good. There's Slaughter, a lot of damage to one target. Also Threshold ability. Destroy is very powerful, it lasts about 6 seconds, so after casting Destroy, don't do anything, it will do amazing damage. And finally there's Berserker, our ultimate ability, so use all your adrenaline and you will deal a lot of damage after casting it. Okay, so now for the items, this is what I recommend. For the inventory, I will highly recommend you to bring super stats, so super attack, strength and defense. It will really boost the amount of experience you will get. You can also bring a little bit of food like salmon and stuff like that. For the equipment, you will want to use either Adamant from level 40 to 50 or Rune 50 to 60. For the fancy stuff, like the Amulet Ring and Cape, you'll want to have Amulet of Glory, Warrior Ring, and Obsidian Cape. And when I talk about, for example, a full rune set, I mean claws with the Offhand Claw, Plate Body, Plate Legs, Elm, Gloves, and Boots. For the glove, it's kind of tricky because you will need to have completed the recipe for Disaster Quest. Otherwise, simply don't bring any gloves or any gloves you find. It's not really your main source of defense anyway. Okay, so the rock crabs are located near Relica, and the fastest way to get there is to simply use Teleport to Relica and run north. They're very close to the Teleport. Okay, so first of all, you want to use Teleport to Relica or the Fremenning Province, actually. Once you're there, you simply want to run north to the rock crabs, and as you can see, they are pretty close to the bank. Once you're there, you simply want to click on the rock crab and use your two first abilities to build adrenaline. Simply want to use them all the time, pretty much. And when you will reach 50%, you will want to use Threshold ability, like Destroy. It's probably the most powerful ability at your level. So simply continue killing them. Once you reach 100% adrenaline, you can use Berserker. That will boost the amount of damage you will deal for a short period of time. So I guess that's pretty much it about Rocktails. From level 60 to 80, there are two main ways to train. You can either kill Hellhound or kill Deadly Red Spiders. Both of them have pretty much the same experience rate, but let's talk about Hellhound first. So they are quite high level combat, 132. They have no requirements, so that's a good thing, and they are weak to slash, so you will want to use a slash weapon. The experience rate you can expect at level 60 is about 100k experience per hour in melee and 30k in summoning. They drop tons of gold charm, and at level 80 it's about 200k experience per hour in melee and 60k summoning. When killing Hellhound, I would recommend to bring a two-handed weapon. This is because at level 70 and 75 the best weapon are two-handed. So it's pretty much the same thing than when dual wielding. So Slice and Punish to build adrenaline, Smash and Sever, which are very good and do not require adrenaline. Then there's Assault, which is kind of the equivalent of Destroy. There's Hurricane, which is also very powerful, and finally Berserker, which is the same than before. Now for the items, I would recommend to bring a super set, and being fast will be very useful because Hellhounds are very far and you want to stay there the most amount of time possible. You can also bring Prayer Potion and Renewal, so you can pray stuff. Food is also required, except if you have a Saradomin God Sword, but they are quite expensive. A Bone Crushing Demon or necklace could be good because they do drop bone, but at that level you probably don't have access to that. Charm Imp to collect charm if you have it, and then there's the Dusty Key. If you don't have level 80 agility or 70 agility, you will need the key. I will put a link in the description for more detail how to obtain it, but it's not really hard. For the equipment, it's as usual, Glory, Warrior Ring, Obsidian Cape, or better, can refer at the beginning of the guide to see the full downgrade list. Armor 60 to 70 Dragon, and then 70 to 80 you can either use Bendas for more damage or Barrows for more defense. For the weapons, it's Darok from level 70 to 75. This is because Darok is the slash Barrows weapon. And then from level 75 to 80, it's the God Sword. So there are 3 God Sword. To be honest, the difference between them is not really big, except maybe the Saradaman God Sword that regenerate you over time. So if you have the money, buy it. Otherwise, simply buy the cheapest one. I think it's the Bendas God Sword. Okay, so the islands are located in the Torvelli dungeon, and the fastest way to get there is to use teleport to Torvelli, run south, enter the dungeon. Now there are 3 ways. You can either use the first agility shortcut north, that requires level 80, otherwise you can go east, the blue dragon, using the shortcut, that's level 70. Otherwise you will need to run the wall way, so run north, east, south, then use your key, and it's a pretty long run, but anyway you should stay there a big time. They are really amazing experience, so it's definitely worth it. Okay, so like I've just said, from the Torvelli teleport, you want to run south and enter the dungeon. Once you're there, there is the shortcut to the west, but you probably don't have level 80 agility, so you'll want to run all the way, like I'm currently doing. It's not really a big time loss, maybe 2 minutes max, but anyway, so right there's a door. In order to open it, you will need to use your dusty key. The blue dragons are not aggressive, so just don't click on them and you shouldn't die there. Simply run north and you will arrive to the island. So there are tons of them, so simply use your superset, use your prayer if you have them, and simply start killing them. And yeah, use your 2 first abilities to get adrenaline, 2 and 4 when they are available. When you have enough adrenaline, use 5 and 6. Finally, if your adrenaline is 100, use Berserker. That's pretty much it. Another monster that you can kill from level 60 to 80 is the deadly red spiders. So they're pretty much the equivalent to the Hellhound, roughly the same experience in melee, but they give less summoning experience because they drop less gold charm. Another difference is their weakness. So the deadly red spider is weak to crush, so you'll want to use a crush weapon. And if you have level 51 agility, you can use a shortcut that will make your way to the deadly red spider faster, but this is optional. For the abilities, it's exactly like the Hellhound, so Slice and Punish. For adrenaline, Smash and Sever because they are good and no adrenaline is needed. Assault and Hurricane are threshold attack, very powerful. And finally, Berserker, which is ultimate that boosts the amount of damage you do. Now for the item, it's exactly the same than for Hellhounds in the most part. So a superset, also prayer renewal and potion. If you want to use prayer to boost the amount of experience you will get. You'll also need a little bit of food. You'll also need a brass key if you plan to use the shortcut. Otherwise you won't be able to use it. And then a Charming Imp if you have one. For the equipment, it's a little bit different. Well, it's still a Glory, Warrior Ring, and Obsidian Cape with for the Armored Dragon and Bendas, or Barrows if you want more defense. The difference comes with the weapon. Because the red spiders are weak to crush, you will want to use Torag from level 70 to 75, and then the Saradaman Sword from level 75 to 80. There are 2 main ways to get to the deadly red spider. The first one is to teleport to Varrock, run northeast and enter the sewer. Once you're there, you want to run north and west and you will arrive to the red spiders. Otherwise, you can run west from Varrock, use your dusty key, not dusty but brass key, in order to enter a little house there. Use the stairs and you will appear in the southwest portion of the Edgeville dungeon. And what you will want to do is run north, use a shortcut, and you will be at the red spiders. Okay, so in this clip I will be showing the easiest method, so via the Varrock sewer. So what you want to do is to enter this manhole right there, and once you're there you want to run north, then east, then north, then west, then south. So it's basically around the clock stuff. The dungeon, the way it's designed, is kind of annoying to be honest, but yeah, we gotta live with it. And if you're level 51, don't forget that you can use the other path, which is way faster. Right there, there's a spider web. You do not need anything special, just click on it and you will pass through it. And once you're at the deadly red spiders, use your superset as usual. Pray if you have the prayer and the prayer potion and start killing the monster using your abilities. So 1, 2 all the time, 3 and 4 when you can use them. Same with 5, 6 and 7 basically. So right there I'm kind of overpowered to kill them, but normally there are plenty spiders for you to kill non-stop. So yeah, it's already the end of the first part of the level 1 to 99 melee guide. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to click the annotation on the screen to go check out the part 2, where I'll be showing methods from level 80 to 99, so Waterfiends, Frost Dragon and Airut, which give amazing experience per hour and can also be a very good source of money.